We have some massive Patriots updates for you as one roster move has already been completed, and it seems as though another one is on the way. We'll get you all the news on that, plus the latest on Christian Gonzalez and his availability heading into Week 2 versus Miami. Welcome into Patriots Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. I have so much to talk about, a roster move, another roster move on the way, and the latest on Christian Gonzalez straight from Mike Vrable. So let's get into it first with the report. This move was announced yesterday, officially completed this morning. The Patriots have waived cornerback DJ James from the 53-man roster, and they have signed defensive tackle Jeremiah Pharms Jr. to the practice squad. Key wordage in this tweet, but I want to go to Tom Pelissero, who had it first before we go back to that. Now, he says the same thing. He got it from DJ James's agents. However, at the very end of this is where I want to focus on. A 6th-round pick by Seattle last year, James spent most of his rookie season with New England, and he was a training camp star this summer. Now he is headed to waivers. It's an interesting thing, to say the least, that you talk about DJ James so much in training camp. I mean, the defensive staff was talking a lot of positive things about him, and we're one game into the season, and it wasn't a roster spot that they immediately gave to somebody, which is where we go next. If you look at this tweet, the 53-man roster is where DJ James got released from. They signed a defensive tackle to the practice squad in Jeremiah Pharms Jr. So in that light, they currently have an open roster spot, which makes the release of DJ James kind of a little bit more interesting. Was there something going on behind the scenes? There also is the ideology that maybe this means that Christian Gonzalez is on the up and up and should be back this week. We'll talk about that in just a second, but in regards to this open roster spot, there are a couple different options, a bunch of different free agents out there. Technically, the Patriots could go out there and get really anybody they want. TreVeyon Henderson is out there if they want to get help on the defensive line. However, he is visiting the Dallas Cowboys today. There's also Stefon Gilmore. I don't think that would be a reunion they want, especially, or not the needed really is the bigger thing, which kind of also knocks out Asante Samuel Jr., who I believe is still a free agent. There's a couple of different guys they could go after, but I think for right now that roster spot probably remains empty. I would highly expect somebody from the practice squad to be pulled up and put on the active roster here soon. Let's go to talk about Christian Gonzalez, though, because he has not practiced since July 28th. Today was the first day of practice for the New England Patriots in Week 2 as they prepare to take on the Miami Dolphins. And the hope is that he'll be back, especially even though the Dolphins did not look good in Week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. They do have a pretty good receiving staff with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, etc. So you want to have your best cornerback staff out there. Well, what is the latest on him? Well, as of today, Mike Vrable said that he didn't think Christian Gonzalez would be at practice, which we did get confirmed here by Alex Sparth when he says Christian Gonzalez, Harold Landry, Keon White, and Morgan Moses are not spotted at practice today, which all those names I don't really like seeing, defensive guys, so I don't especially like not seeing Harold Landry out there. At the same time, though, it seems like there's no concern for really any of these players, and there was even less concern for Christian Gonzalez today than probably what we had in the past. However, I want to talk about the cornerback room. You released DJ James now, so if for whatever reason Gonzalez is not ready to go coming up here on this upcoming week, what were the snaps going to be like? What are they going to be? Well, DJ James didn't exactly play much in Week 1 for the first part. Carl Thompson of Boston.com saying, quote, Carlton Davis and Alex Austin were the top options at corner with Gonzalez out. Both players were on the field for all 63 of New England's defensive snaps. Marcus Jones logged 40 snaps, which is just under 2/3 of the total snaps. Recently signed addition Charles Woods missed the game with an injury. So those are kind of the snaps. There's also, just kind of putting in there, the two safeties for the Patriots, Hawkins and him. They each got snaps as well at cornerback. They played all 63 snaps, but some of those were at the cornerback slot and not the safety slot, depending on the formations that were used and cornerback blitzes, stuff like that. So that is a key note to put exactly there. But we don't know when cornerback Christian Gonzalez will be back, and that's where we continue on with the report. Carl Thompson once again saying, quote, it's not exactly clear when Gonzalez will be back. He did not practice at all last week, though he has been spotted in the locker room. The Patriots have several practices this week before they head down to Miami to face the Dolphins, end quote. It's an interesting situation here because you want to have Christian Gonzalez back, but I think we all understand the long-term health and success of Christian Gonzalez is way more important than having him play against Week 2 against Miami, who scored 9 points, and the only reason they scored, or 7 points last week, and the only reason they didn't go scoreless last week was because Devon Achane literally ran his way through a couple of defenders to get in the end zone. But either way, Christian Gonzalez is a key piece to this defense. 16 games last year, 2 interceptions, had 1 pick six, had a recovered fumble as well, and 50 solo tackles. This is a key piece of the defense, and especially in the way that Mike Vrable is going to use him in this year. You want to have your best defense out there, I think, is the best way to put that. So the hope is that we can see Christian Gonzalez back, we can see Christian Gonzalez back here on this week. There are still 2 more practices for the New England Patriots, but the only concerning factor to me is that today at practice, there was multiple reports that it was not fully padded, which means it was a lighter practice, less head-on-head, less hitting collisions, and they still didn't feel that Christian Gonzalez was ready for that. Now, the injury is, toward lower leg, so it's not going to be something more of, worried about more non-contact injuries or stuff like that. But at the same time, you are trying to figure out when is the exact time for him to come back. And so Mike Vrable actually talked a little bit more about Christian Gonzalez. Here's what he said, saying, quote, "Continuing to improve, which is positive. I'm working hard, but I don't think we'll be seeing him today on the practice field. So again, just working hard and keep improving, stay engaged, still preparing as a starter and asking questions as a starter in the meetings and all those things." So that's where we're at today. Those are all good updates to know that Christian Gonzalez is very active. He's very much in the meetings, very much a part of the starting roster. He's just not on the field. The hope is, again, you can have him back within the next week or two. I really would love to see him back this week, but at the same time, I think we all know that the health and safety is more important. Alex Barth of 98.5, the Sports Hub, he was the one who had the report that Gonzalez wasn't at practice. I kind of mentioned it again. Gonzalez has been out since July 28th when he suffered a hamstring injury during one of the Patriots' first training camp practices. He has not practiced since, including missing all 3 days last week before being inactive for the Patriots' Week 1 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. And the reason this is kind of surprising to me is because when this injury was first reported, there was nothing of the sort of this is going to be a long-term injury. This is going to keep him out of practice for a month plus, which it has done for now. In training camp and preseason, you're not expecting much. He's a starter. He's one of your best players. You're not going to play him anyway that much, so it didn't really affect our thought process on it. But now that we're here heading into Week 2 and he hasn't practiced in the 4 practices the Patriots have had, 3 last week, now 1 this week, you start to get a little more concerned as how effective was this injury? How effective is that hamstring going to be? And in some extent, I appreciate Mike Vrable and the Patriots staff for making sure that this is 100% going to be a clean transition here for Christian Gonzalez. So that is kind of the latest on him. Real quickly, here at the end of the video, I want to talk about the defensive tackle, Jeremiah Pharms Jr. He's the guy that was with us on the 90-man, didn't end up signing on the 53-man or the practice squad originally, but he cleared waivers. No one signed him. The Patriots picked him back up. Here is from the Patriots press release, the report on Pharms. He was 28, originally joining New England on July 19th, 2022, after playing for the Pittsburgh Maulers of the USFL. The 6'2", 300-pounder spent the entire 2022 season on the practice squad, and then after starting the 2023 season on the practice squad, was signed to the 53-man roster, end quote. So the big thing with Pharms Jr., he's a guy they understand, he's a guy they've had on their roster, and a person that they would like to keep around. They make the move here today to make sure of that by signing him onto the practice squad. Like I said, there is technically still an open roster spot. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the guys from the practice squad gets elevated. There obviously was 16 practice squad. They had, I believe, an open spot on the practice squad as well. So it's an ever-changing roster right now, most of which are the smaller moves, but still kind of important as to who we'll see on Sundays. And for now, it's going to be an open roster spot, and we'll see who gets called up from the practice squad or if they go out and make a signing. We'll keep you updated with the latest on Christian Gonzalez and everything you need to know past that for the New England Patriots as they head into Week 2 against the Miami Dolphins. And for now, we'll see you next time here on Patriots Digest. Peace out, guys.